I've been selling my soul, working all day.
That was Oliver Anthony singing Rich Men North of Richmond, and if you're watching this, it's possible that you have strong opinions on this song. No judgment there. Hey, it's Billy Dukes, and I do too, but I'm hoping to accomplish 3 things during this video. 1, answer this question: who is Oliver Anthony? 2, pull back the emotions toward the song Rich Men North of Richmond to objectively figure out what the heck Oliver is talking about lyrically. And 3, explain the controversy and ultimately review this song like one might review any song that comes across a music magazine editor's desk. Spoiler alert there are a few things he does really well and some decisions that are pretty questionable.
I've been playing a long time and singing. I really started to write my own music back in 2021.
Oliver Anthony's real name is actually Christopher Anthony Lunsford, and we know this because that's the name attributed to all of his songwriting credits. Then, just as we were about to publish this video, he dropped about 1,000 words on Facebook telling us more, and explained that Oliver Anthony was his grandfather. There's a link to that story in the description section below. Who is Christopher Anthony Lunsford?
I had wasted a lot of nights getting high and getting drunk, and I had sort of gotten to a point in my life where even things that I did care about didn't mean anything to me anymore. And I mean, this is certainly no Dr. Phil episode, but I found an outlet in this music.
Basically, all that we have that's verifiable about this guy comes from the source that we like to call the internet. He says he's from Farmville, Virginia, which no reason to believe he's lying. In sort of an introductory video shared on his own YouTube channel, he says he was, as recently as July 2023, struggling with mental health and alcoholism. Yeah, that's the actual video. Not exactly a high-dollar shoot by any means, but it gets the job done. Again, no reason to believe he's fibbing about this, or reports that he has dogs and wants to build a small farm. I'm kind of reminding people that the decent thing to do here is to take the man at his word, because already some people are hinting that he's more than a simple factory worker who kind of stumbled into some fame. I mean, I love a good conspiracy theory, but there's more reason to believe that he's telling the truth more than anything. You can click one of the chapter time codes in the description section below to jump ahead if you just need to know what I mean there. Taste of Country did a public record search for his name and found that some of what he's saying is verifiable, but there are still frustratingly few details to lean on. Most of the "It's a pleasure to meet you" video is Oliver talking about how music gives him purpose and how he's committed to this life. Oliver actually talks like a man who's been playing music and meeting fans for quite some time, and during what becomes something of a manifesto, he says everybody he meets is struggling to some extent.
People are just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And so yeah, I want to be a voice for those people.
In talking about politics and even his song Rich Men North of Richmond, he speaks in vague terms and doesn't really say anything that you can argue with.
I think one of the worst things that a human being can do is take advantage of a child.
Does Oliver have children? No idea.
I hope wherever you are in the world listening to this, and whatever it is that you're trying to do with your life, I hope that you succeed at it.
Thank you. You too. I'm not really sure what to make of this life advice other than he's a man who's deep in his feels. A few days later, he reflected on his concert in eastern North Carolina. He's in a different car this time, and we don't really learn too much more, but he does start to use this platform to raise our sagging smiles a little bit.
This song is not something that it's not like it's some masterpiece I've created. It's the masterpiece and the emotions of the song. It already exists within you. But my question to you is, when Oliver Anthony's long gone and forgotten about, what can you do in your own life to maintain this energy, this positivity, this unity that I see among people like I've never seen before?
If I'm being honest, Oliver sounds like someone that I wouldn't want to get stuck in an elevator with. I mean, I don't disagree with anything he's saying, but he's coming on a little bit strong for a first date.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay.
Great opening line. That, with the next lyric, overtime hours for bullshit pay, established the song as a blue-collar anthem that it is. The first verse closes with, "So I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away." I'd like to ask where he is exactly. He's not quite at home yet, but he's left work. I mean, I guess that's really not important.
It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you.
Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is. Note how Oliver is speaking of universal emotion more than any specific social or political struggle. This isn't like John Rich's shutting Detroit down, which was born out of the financial crisis of 2008. There's nothing specific happening in the news currently to inspire this. I mean, maybe rising interest rates, but that's a little bit heady for a song like this. During the chorus, though, he starts to zoom in. Living in the new world with an old soul, these rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just want to have total control. These rich men are politicians in Washington, D.C., which is about 2 hours north of Richmond up I-95. And he doesn't really blast Republicans or Democrats. In fact, in real life, Oliver says that he's right down the middle.
Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do.
Okay, stop there. I think this might be the most important part of the song and the reason why it's gone viral. They don't think you know, but I know that you do. In that lyric, he's positioned himself as the champion of this cause, and he's made us feel really comfortable about our worldview. But I know that you do. Oliver is saying, I see you, as we often feel so unseen by the people that we've elected to represent us. Written any other way, this song isn't nearly as effective. It's his masterstroke. Quick editor note, as we were finishing editing, we learned that Anthony did have some help with digital marketing. The effect that had on the song going viral isn't clear, but you can read more about it at the link in the description section. Then he closes the chorus with, "'Cause your dollar ain't shit, it's taxed to no end, 'cause of rich men north of Richmond." The second verse is less universal, as Oliver targets a specific audience. I actually think he makes a few mistakes here, but I'll get there. I wish politicians would look out for miners and not just miners on islands somewhere. The first miners are coal miners in West Virginia and Kentucky, and the second are children under 18. He's referring to Jeffrey Epstein's islands, where he allegedly trafficked children to be sex slaves for his wealthy friends. It's a really disgusting saga either way, and it kind of ended when he died in prison in 2019. The issue of child trafficking has in recent months been tops on conservative voters' talk points. Until this point, he'd really focused on the plight of the overworked man, but now he's broadening his scope. Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. This blue-collar anthem just stretched to hold sex trafficking, homelessness, welfare fraud, and the obesity epidemic. A lot of people probably laughed when they heard that lyric, but I'm betting that those who understand the realities of food deserts did not. I'm certainly guessing that anyone who's 5'3" and weighs 300 pounds isn't chuckling today. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground. That's about suicide, which Oliver blames the government for when he says, "'Cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down." The chorus repeats, but that's essentially the lyrics of the song. Here is why people are so upset by it. Oliver Anthony's Rich Men North of Richmond would have benefited from a professional co-writer. That's not someone who was going to water down his message, but someone who could have ultimately helped him tighten it up. A brilliant opening lyric is saying as the listener shuffles to his resonator guitar, at once he's shown us the urgency of the problem and the reality of the speed of the fix. This isn't the new shutting Detroit down because the ostensible problem he's targeting isn't really all that clear. It's still a necessary message, and by using I in "and they don't think you know, but I know that you do," Anthony positions himself as a Robin Hood ready to deliver. That feels good, but then it gets a little weird. I'll stop short of saying that Anthony is fat-shaming, but he definitely doesn't understand the realities of food deserts and rural towns, even coal mining rural towns. One might have to drive 30 minutes to find fresh produce at a grocery store, but see 3 McDonald's along the way. Obesity and addiction are epidemics with no singular cause to blame. Yet he does blame. During Rich Men North of Richmond, Anthony blames the obese for being that way and the government for suicide. At best, it's a naive opinion that waters down his think piece, and if you start to look at the full scope of what he's produced, you start to see a man who's just beginning to give some considerable thought to presenting his ideas. Both talking head videos he's produced go way beyond the music. I think he's a victim of something called the Dunning-Krueger Effect, where people achieve success in one arena and begin to overestimate their knowledge or abilities in another arena. Nobody's going to walk away from Richmond feeling a little lighter in the heart, but he's trying to play the song off as one that might inspire some sort of positive change. While I appreciate that he sees a lack of mental health resources as a problem, he'd do better to speak with mental health professionals about that field before attacking people with issues that very well may stem from mental health. Conspiracy theories that describe Oliver Anthony as a conservative plant are premature, even if it's now becoming clear how some political commentators work to help him out along the way. Whether or not there's something wrong with that probably depends on which side of the aisle you align yourself with. He does go right to a topic that some people have tied to QAnon, but that feels more coincidental than anything. It's kind of strange that even before he dropped the song, he released a long video introducing himself and saying thank you. To me, that's overconfidence more than covert operative. Every dang thing doesn't have to split the political aisle in 2023, but I suppose this song didn't stand a chance of being bipartisan. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay. That's a great line, and the start of a great anthem. Someone who's penned a song or two should have been brought in to help him from there. I'm Billy Dukes for Taste of Country. Thanks for watching, and thanks for subscribing.